Hello, everyone. It's Pat. Welcome back to my channel. Coming on today with our video for the November Archangels, where we take a kind of a look, a little weather forecast for the upcoming month. And I pull some Archangel cards from Doreen Virtue's Archangel deck to see what Archangels are overseeing us this month. What their messages are, who we can work with and call upon, and as well as some other general, this is a general reading, messages, from other card decks for the upcoming month. So going into November, obviously we have some here in the United States. We're coming into our voting day, and there's been so much intensity and drama and some real concerning issues on the table, that have people concerned. And so we also just had a new moon, it's kind of an intense one that's brought in some winds of change. If you watched my reading for the last week of October, change, chaos, and conflict, things like that. So I've already pulled cards for this month. And so it's really actually kind of no surprise that going into this month, our prominent archangel who's overseeing us is the Archangel Shamuel with this message of peace, okay? And it says, peace comes from remembering that only love is real. Shamuel also comes in with a message about beloved one. And we also have Archangel Zadkiel with this message of clairaudience, paying attention to what you hear. Now, Archangel Shamuel he's an archangel who helps us, to find, he's considered the finding angel. And he helps us to find relationships, new jobs, or finding, peace, helping us to find more peace in our lives. As part of that group of the powers are a group of angels that help oversee and protect the earth from anything that, incredibly negative that would try to overtake it or what have you. So whenever we're feeling very fearful about world events, I've talked in previous videos about working with Archangel Michael, and he's also a very good angel to work on when you're feeling afraid. But Shamuel is also an angel when you're feeling fearful about world events and things going on, like what we have going on now. He's an angel that you can call upon to help you to feel more at peace and protected and have, maybe a better understanding of maybe the process of peace and what's going on. And you can ask for Shamuel's intervention. Very kind. He doesn't quite feel as strong as Archangel Michael does, but has a nice, gentle element of peace that Shamuel brings in. I've worked with him before in certain situations where there was just a lot of drama and tension going on, and it was miraculously helpful. So it's a message about it being important to focus on peace. And the process of peace is ongoing. It's part of what he's letting us know with this message. Okay, they're overseeing us. They're helping us get to a place of more peace. And that the process of peace, though, sometimes doesn't always look so pretty. Okay, there's all sorts of maybe stuff that we find out about that we didn't know was going on, things that we have to address and face within ourselves and, stand in our power about or what have you. Ultimately, the outcome is we get into a place in our lives that's and in the world at large that is more peaceful. But there is a process of getting there. Okay. And we are in that process and they are overseeing it. Also at the heart of this month is our beloved ones. So that could be, your spouse, your significant other in your life, could be your children. Okay. It says, I'm helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationship, and Shamuel certainly does help people. And this card comes up when there's a soulmate relationship there for you. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a romantic one, but, you might be connected with someone who is a soulmate for you. But I think at the heart of it is, with this abortion issue that's on the table here in this election, We are concerned about our beloved ones across the board. And what Zadkiel is saying here on this message is pay attention to what you're hearing. Like, try and listen and hear what's really being said. It's also a message about paying attention. Angels speak to us sometimes in our head. To me, it sounds like, it's something that's said to me in a way that I wouldn't say something to myself. It's not schizophrenia. You're not hearing voices, that kind of thing. But it's, they do give you gentle guidance. And so they're saying, notice that guidance, pay attention to it. Sometimes it does come through other people as well. But, it's also about compassionate listening, being able to listen with compassion. Okay. So, these are some of the themes that the angels are overseeing with us this month. Okay. The fairy cards, the 3 cards that came out. I'm sorry. I also had, I pulled an Archangel Michael card because I've mentioned that, and I talked about him a lot in the past month about how he helps us to get out of fear and helps us to feel confident and empowered. And the message from his deck that I pulled is this one of self-respect, because that is part of what is a huge issue that's been going on. We have a candidate who's very much known for not speaking respectfully to people or being very disrespectful to certain groups in our world, whether it was the military or whether it was women. So self-respect is very much on the table. It may speak to you personally as well in a situation that you have in your life going on right now, where there's a need to get out of, stand up for ourselves and get out of something where there's abusive treatment going on, or just a situation that, that isn't healthy for you. Okay. It's a bit about standing up for yourself and leaving or moving on for something, and maybe a situation where you're not being treated respectfully by other people. Okay. And that's an issue that's been on the table in our country as part of this upcoming election as well. The respectful treatment of people. As we know, in a recent rally of one of our candidates, and we all know who it is, there was something said about a pile of, garbage floating in the middle of the ocean, and it was called Puerto Rico. That was a horrible comment to make about someone. And, comedians, there are some comedians that do make very disparaging, lowball comments that are intended to be funny. And in a certain level they are, but they're also just really deep digs. And it's just incredibly disrespectful. And we're standing up, and this very much a theme of this month about respect, self-respect. Okay. We're trying to move away from a person in a situation that's going to continue a process of disrespecting people, or an atmosphere where it's okay to disrespect people. Okay. So that issue is very much on the table this month. Now, the fairy cards that came out for us this month were about self-reliance, is the name on this card. Admit your true feelings to yourself, and parenting and children. And again, my feeling about that is that it speaks very much to what's on the table with the abortion issue that's in, sorry, my kitty getting in the way. That's my beloved one. Because if you look at the woman in this picture, she's naked. She's covering her breasts. There's an element of vulnerability. Women are feeling very vulnerable right now, pending the outcome of this election. Okay. It's about parenting and children, family planning. There's a lot of that on the table. Okay. And this card is really about, I think, a reminder to really sit with your own, get away from the media, get away from whatever, is being spewed out there, because there's all sorts of different stuff that's going on, and just sit for a minute and be willing to admit your own feelings about that, or about the whatever issues on the table, or about, this, just whatever situation you're in. It's about, we're taking the time out to have a real honest conversation with ourselves. Be your own best friend. That's an act of self-respect too. You coming in to lend your hello to it, Angel? It says, be willing to be honest with yourself. Only you know what it is that you truly desire. And it's okay to admit your own feelings to yourself, even if those feelings aren't very pretty. Okay. And because it can be very, freeing. That also helps to bring in a sense of peace, because you can honestly ask yourself, what am I fighting against? What am I working so hard towards? What is it that I really want? So it allows for you to hear that inner guidance, or guidance from your guides and angels, to be able to move forward in a way that brings you more peace. Okay. So there's definitely a lot that's going to be worked through this month, I think. Now, I always pull from Colette Baron Reid's cards too. So Colette Baron Reid's cards for this month, these are all clarifying. These are just getting into a few more of the details about what we might be experiencing this month. So we have the Thinker, which is very much about thinking things through, making plans, strategizing, making the lists of what you need to get done in your day-to-day life. Okay. We also have higher power here. So I think that speaks to the fact that a lot of us are very much praying and taking that time to call in our higher power, remembering our relationship to spirit and our connection to spirit, whatever that may be, however you may honor that in your spiritual path. Okay. And then we have this message of clean it up, which obviously speaks to a very, practical thing. We're cleaning up. I'm in the midst of cleaning up right now, cleaning up my space, going through my stuff, decluttering, donating, giving away, putting stuff in storage, et cetera, et cetera. So it certainly speaks to that at a practical level. But in terms of, it's a little bit connected to this, admit your true feelings to yourself, in the sense of, it's about cleaning up your own side of the street. Okay. Taking care of your own inner, like cleaning up your own inner clutter. There's a zillion different thoughts that are going through our day as we interact with people, as we see what's on the media. There's a lot of stuff that gets whirling around, and it's sometimes hard, especially when there's large groups of people who collectively are feeling, there's a general sense of unease. And those of us who are very empathic pick up on that. But anyways, it's about cleaning up what's in your own inner environment, what's going on in your own psyche, what's going on in your own emotions. Okay. And cleaning up your side of the street is really about cleaning up, looking at how your own thought process, behaviors, and attitudes are affecting what you're experiencing in your life. Okay. So there's an element of that too. And that comes from taking the time to, just admit how you really feel about something. Okay. I'm unhappy in this situation. What am I making this mean? If this person said this to me, or I encountered that experience and I'm feeling uncomfortable with it, what am I making that mean? Do I really want to continue tolerating this anymore? Okay. In cleaning it up just may mean that it's time to clean up your part and be willing to accept and admit that it's time to move on from something. Okay. Or like I said, at a very practical level, you just might be cleaning out your space to redecorate it and allow in the new. Okay. So there's those kinds of themes kind of going on this month. And I think the final card I picked, and I picked a lot of cards for this month. Could you tell I was a little worried about it going into it? But I also made sure that I just centered myself and did a nice, peaceful meditation so I could, bring you the best messages. So this card came out from our Angels, Gods, and Goddesses deck here. And this is the Angel of Healing. Okay. And it's the angels have felt your sadness and have shown up today to send you healing. So they're working with people out there who may be grieving some losses. Maybe you've lost loved ones. Maybe you're healing from something physically or emotionally. But in general, too, our nation is in a process of healing. We're in a process of moving towards more peace. And like I said, that process isn't always pretty. The process of healing, sometimes as it progresses forward, it can seem very frustrating. So even though on the other side of it, there's an improved situation, there is relief, but you are being looked after and cared for by the unseen loving forces. Okay. Shamuel reminds us of love and how important it is to take time to focus on that, as well as peace. And because the more we ground that in ourselves, the more we bring it to the world and help to spread that. Okay. So these are some of the themes that we have going on for this month. And it feels like it has a very positive outcome, but it might be a bit of a choppy month, things coming up in the world. There still may be some chaos coming up. And it's just a reminder that as these things come up, and if we start to feel afraid of it, then call on Shamuel. Okay. Do what you need to do to nurture your own soul and get into a space of peace so that, we don't become too embroiled in the drama or pulled into the dramas that are going on, or we don't become somebody else's victim, and we become more self-reliant when we develop our own personal power. Okay. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate your viewership. If this resonated with you, it's a general reading. If it resonated with you, please hit the like, subscribe button, leave a comment. Thanks so much for joining me today. Take care and have a great month. I'll be on very shortly with the weekly reading. Take care.